Hello and welcome, my fellow adventurer across the lands. It is Wander Named Guy, and I am within the lair of the beholder. He is gonna help me out, as always, while I'm looking at maybe not so modern cards or just commander cards. Remember, this is a nicer beholder. They are they are rare, but they are out there. Some don't just want to turn you to stone and eat you. um, as gruesome as this guy looks, he does help me out looking at different spells throughout the ages. He uh, so, without further ado, though, I wanted to kind of go over a commander that I want to start building a deck for. Um, Now, it is a planeswalker as well as a creature, so that's why you can use it as your commander. It is Grist, the Hunger Tide. Uh, yeah, I didn't think Beautiful Bant was. Here, let me get zoom in a little bit more. I did not think Beautiful Bant was a a a a a place Grist should ever go. I think the angels would smite him. Just dude, I don't know. We do not know the story behind Grist, but um, right here, I do want to go over some of the things. Yes, that is a 1/1 creature token, weirdly enough, from Zendikar Rising, um, that you'd be able to use as that. So right there, the reason why you'd be able to use this as your commander is as long as Grist, the Hunger Tide, isn't on the battlefield, it's a 1/1 creature, a 1/1 insect creature, in addition to its other types. So just that in and alone, it's basically this. While it's in your hand, if you put it on top of the library, if it's in your graveyard, if it's in the command zone, if it's anywhere else except the battlefield, it is this, a 1/1 insect creature, as well as being a legendary planeswalker. So actually, this guy is a legendary creature planeswalker. So, yeah, a whole bunch of shenanigans can happen with that because, let's say, you do something like this. Mind Stab. Player discards 3 cards. Now, if for some reason you're bouncing, with Reanimate or, let's see, Recover. So let's say that Grist is out on the battlefield and you have him do his ult 5. Now let's say it's the beginning of the game for, pretty close, maybe 5-7 turns in. There's actually 5 people playing in a commander pod instead of 4 or 3, which is just no fun. Yeah. But you have his loyalty go down to 0 because you ult him. You have the option, because he's going to be put in the graveyard, you can put him in the command zone. But if your commander goes to the command zone, then you have to pay commander tax. So it's this little, sorry with the reflection of the light there. So here it's a 1 of any, a swamp and a forest. So hard cast, swamp and forest, and then 1 of either of those. Or if you have a colorless. You can probably be using some Eldrazi in this deck. This guy looks kind of looks like an Eldrazi, but it's this guy apparently. I kind of have the headcanon that it is the first insect planeswalker ever, and when he comes onto the battlefield, it's like he has a whole swarm of insects around him, and maybe bones and whatever not. And it becomes that planeswalker. It's no longer himself. It's no longer just an insect, but when it comes on the battlefield, it's this larger than life insect. It literally becomes like another persona. But that's the thing. Once it comes on the battlefield, you lose the creature type. So you lose the creature aspect of the card, so it just becomes a planeswalker now. So anything that's like, any spell that your opponent, throws at you that, damage, target damaged creature or fights creature or whatever, that doesn't happen with that because it's on the battlefield. Now, if it's in your hand, because most of the time what you want to be doing is, especially with how low cost this is, you want to be bouncing this to like your graveyard or your hand or on the top of your library. You want to be bouncing this into places where you can play him without having to pay that cost. So, but the thing is if it's in your hand, this is funny. So, divest. Target player reveals hand. You choose an artifact or creature card from it. That player discards that card. Now, if you bounced Grist Hungertide to your hand, so let's say, here's a, if you have this enchantment out, choose and discard a creature card, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Now, this, let's go back to that scenario where Grist is on the battlefield. It's now a planeswalker, no longer a creature. You have him on the battlefield for 2 turns because you have other things out there, other insects, you're doing stuff, and you ult him. Because he has no more loyalty, he is going off the battlefield. But because it is your commander of choice, it can go back into the command zone or your graveyard. If you choose to put it in your graveyard, you don't have to pay the command tax. So that's where you're wanting to put it. To cheat it out even more, you have something like this. Tortured Existence. Choose and discard a creature card from your hand. Let's say it's an insect, let's say it's something else, a shapeshifter, because you're trying to do tribal, like a full-on tribal. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Now, if you don't understand Grist, let's read it again. The first thing on it is, as long as it's not on the battlefield, it's a 1/1 creature in addition to its other types. So if it's in the graveyard, it's a creature card as well. So you can choose that and put it into your hand. Now let's say not the fact that, choose a creature card, it doesn't say reveal it, but let's just say, you know what your opponent is doing, or it's someone you always play, and then they choose divest, they can choose Grist Hungertide from your hand to discard if they play divest after you have put it in your hand from Tortured Existence. The reason is because if it's in your hand or the graveyard or on top of your library or in the command zone, it's a creature card as well as a legendary planeswalker. So this card, as long as it's not on the battlefield like that, it's a legendary creature planeswalker named Grist. So if you don't think that, cards can't get weird with their types, look at that. Elf, Salamander, Rogue. Yeah, that's... And then there's like a Jellyfish, Hydra, something. Like, creature types, subtypes can get really weird. Now, I think there was like a ruling or something people were talking about where, you're constructing your deck and that's part of the game. It's like, even so, if it's, if you're constructing your deck, it's not part of the battlefield, so it would be considered a creature card, but you're trying to put it as your commander, so it would still be, yeah. This card right here, I'm going to make a commander deck, and you right there, viewer, are going to watch it unfold. I finally, because this card is a point of contention right now for a lot of people. A lot of people think that a new ruling has to happen because it's a legendary planeswalker that doesn't have on the bottom here, like that elf with the eye patch I was talking about, or a couple other ones where it says, it can be your commander. because it's a planeswalker. So with Commander, it's like it has to be a legendary creature. Well, just see, like, text-wise, if you don't understand a card, read it 100 times, and then you might get it, type of thing. I didn't have to read this 100 times, but I definitely did, my research and going over cards like this, divest. See, now this, if somebody tries to do that, reveal their hand, non-creature, non-land, you wouldn't be able to use duress on Grist, because if it's in your hand, it's a creature as well as a planeswalker. You do divest, not duress. Dive off tutor's always good. This is another one where it's a grave digging. This is so if you're playing Grist, that's why I'm really interested in playing him, because I don't usually play swamps or forests, and almost never in this combination. It's only with Strixhaven Witherbloom, that school, that I even felt comfortable kind of going into this. But I'm glad I did. My stepdad played mono black, and my first house. Here's something else. So okay, that's just kind of explaining the mechanics of Grist, like recover. If it goes to your graveyard, it's a creature. Return target creature to your graveyard. There you go. You have a whole bunch of all these cards. There's I got my start on my insects, but I'm really happy I kind of broke that for me, because it's not like I want to go watch every single YouTube video, everyone trying to do a deck tech. I didn't want to do a deck tech. I'm fairly okay on finding out cards that work. What is that, synergy? Win condition, I'm good on that. Even though I don't like to play competitively, I can think competitively. I like the casual aspect of any type of game. It's, you can have your competitiveness, but it's, like, what's the point of having competitiveness if there's no, you can't have any fun with it. That's the whole part of a game. Anywho, so Celestia, here we go. This is yes, this is a Celestia. Your eyes are not tripping out right now. This is a Return to Ravnica pre-release kit. This baby is almost 10 years old, and I cannot wait to open this. I'm gonna do it for F&M, Friday Night Magic, right before my birthday. I am gonna be doing it this month, the month of July. It's my birth month. So, but full circle. In with this color combination, Swamp and Forest. Yes, I have played Forest before, but it was with Plains, white. So that was Celestia. This was my first house, my first guild, first color combinations. Then I went to Steam, or now called Prismari, red and blue, and then I went to Boros, or now called Lorehold. And while I was doing, I thought I was like, oh yeah, I don't really play Boros, and I'm talking about, this is all in the span of 15 years, like the entirety of me playing Magic. This is color combinations I've tried. I really try to stick with tried and true. So yeah, when I came back with BFC, it was like, Celestia, let's play with that, because that's kind of, I think it was green, elves, mono, and then it was red and blue that I played with, against my stepdad. I never won against my stepdad. That's why I don't like mono black. And anything to really do with swamps, it's just murder, eliminate, and the whole thing with delving into your graveyard and chucking, sacrificing creatures and all that. So I'm really glad to get into this, and I'm really glad to get into a deck that does those things, because I'm a 90s old school OG Magic player, and I just like find it funny that there's colors that I still have. No, I've stuck to 3 colors that out of like 22 years of playing a game. 23 years of playing a game. I was away for 13 years, but still, it's you don't really walk away with from stuff. Always appreciated the art and everything that goes into it. The time that I was away, I was playing D&D, so I mean, if you know anything about Magic the Gathering, it was made because of the lag time you have between the permadeath games and D&D. That is the whole reason why Magic the Gathering got even started. So I'm really excited for this month, July. We're having the Adventures into the Forgotten Realms set be released. Really happy about that. And ironically, it was kind of funny that I have, Beholder set, a playmat for that. I just, what was it? September? Yeah, September, November. September it was announced that we were going to have a D&D set. So I thought that was pretty cool. Preemptive without knowing I was being preemptive. But anyways, without making it a 20-minute video of me just ranting, wanted to talk about Grist and then, a little update. I'm going to be opening this up, I think, next week. I'm trying to release this on the 2nd. I don't know if it will upload there or not, but really looking forward to this commander. And like I said, stick around with me. I will be making another couple of videos just talking about certain commanders that I want to play. This is kind of like a new offshoot. I want to focus on specific cards while I'm talking about them, make videos. Hopefully they're not going to be this long. I really only meant this to be a 10-minute video, but oh man, that kind of happens when you lose the consistency on your roll. You gotta get back into it, and I've got a really awesome insect dude to help me out with that. Yeah. See you across the multiverse. Thank you for joining me.